I was totally humiliated at this point. This was the worst humiliation of the whole entire hours that I had spent with him. He was doing different positions. I could feel him sort of like underneath me, behind me. I don't know how many pictures he took, but then he helped me sit back down, and actually he laid me on the couch this time and he covered me up with the blanket. So he left, and then finally it was done. I was listening, I couldn't hear anything outside, but I wasn't sure if he was still just down the hall watching me. So I waited, it had to have been 20 minutes, and finally I pulled my blindfold down. I was sweating, I didn't even want to look, and finally I just said, oh, I'm gonna make that call, whether he's there or not. At least if he kills me, at least they'll be able to find me. It won't be days or anything like that. Cops finally arrive at about 17 minutes after I made the phone call. I opened the door, they came in. They seemed suspicious about what had happened. They weren't believing me or something. This hit the news full-blown the next morning to warn all the people around what had happened. On a Monday morning, 2 detectives came to my door and told me that it was all over, Lori. They had caught the guy, he had confessed to everything. They told me he lived 3 doors down. I asked who he was, and they told me it was Colonel Russell Williams, and he was the head commander of one of the busiest bases in Canada. He had a very powerful position, and nobody was aware of what he was doing in his nighttime work. They found mounds and mounds of women's underwear and storing them and labeling them. Apparently he had been doing this for at least 2 years in 2 different neighborhoods, one in Ottawa where him and his former wife lived, and then in my neighborhood. He was just all over the place, terrorizing basically these neighborhoods. As it turned out, he was responsible for her death, as well as another death. There was never anybody with him the night that he attacked me, and his going to visit the others, which he did during the course of the hours that he had spent with me, but I would say at least a dozen times. Apparently he was going into my bedroom, trying on my underwear, taking more photographs. I survived because I clearly wanted to live. I knew that there was a lot more that I had to accomplish. When I found out what this guy had been doing to me, when he had been in my home, I went into terrible shock. Still to this day, I still have a hard time comprehending or grasping all of this.